Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to With Jewish Youth. And we're certainly happy you're with us tonight because we have two very outstanding guests from overseas. And they were here a couple of weeks ago for the holiday of Shavuos to spend with the Lubavitcher Rabbi. And I asked them to do me the honors of being with me on the show, so we taped the show while they were here. I got to know Mr. and Mrs. Zalman Jaffe much closer from my visit to Manchester not so very long ago. You all know that I went to London as the personal emissary of the Lubavitcher Rebbe to attend a ladies' convention, and I had the good fortune to be invited to be the guest speaker in Manchester for a mass meeting that was called from Manchester Jury, which was chaired by Mr. Zalman Jaffe. Now, Mr. Zalman Jaffe lives in Manchester with his lovely wife, and he is a prominent businessman there. He's the chairman of the Lubavitch movement. He is the president of the synagogue. He is a past president of Manchester Shechita Board, and who is now also the treasurer of the Shechita Board. And I'd like you to know that this kind of a board takes in all the problems of Shechita, which means slaughtering, the kosher slaughter, kashrus in general, the problems of all kosher products and so on, also the problems that come to the Bezdin. The Dayanim are part of this board, and of which Mr. Jaffe is the treasurer. He's also the chairman of the Jewish Day School in Manchester, which I've seen, only from the outside, of course. It was an evening. And he's been blessed with a wonderful Ashes Chayil, God bless her, Mrs. Rosalind Jaffe, who is his great partner in life and also his great inspiration in the work that he does. They have a very wonderful son who is a rabbi in Manchester, and their daughter, of course, married. Their daughter is in London, married and connected with a fine family, and she is one of the most outstanding young ladies that I've ever met, together with her husband, and they do a most fantastic job in London. The son I don't know too well. I only remember him from the years that he was a yeshiva bacher here in Lubavitch. And so, Mr. and Mrs. Zalman Jaffe, welcome to With Jewish Youth. We are certainly happy to have this opportunity to have you speak to our radio audience here in New York and tell our old and young alike who listen to With Jewish Youth something about Manchester. Now, you know, to a New Yorker, Manchester, England, London, sounds like woo, who knows where. But after I've been to Manchester and I've seen what I saw, my whole image of these, so to speak, far, far away places has changed, at least as far as the Jewish community and input is concerned. I would like to begin by asking you a very important question. I, of course, didn't have too much time just being there the one night when I delivered my speech to become too closely acquainted with all the problems. I would like to know, is there much anti-Semitism in Manchester? Is it rampant, or is it hidden, or don't you feel it at all?
Good evening, Rabbi Hecht. I'm glad to have this opportunity of saying a few words to your listeners. Anti-Semitism in England, as far as I am aware, is not present at all. Superficially, we have no anti-Semitism at all.
Well, that sounds great. That makes me feel very good. Tell me this, is there much intermarriage? This is a terrible plague. As you know, our percentages here in the States is something like 41%. And I'd like to know, is there this problem of intermarriage prevalent in Manchester?
Yes, we have that problem the same as everywhere else. But Baruch Hashem, it is not as serious as I gather it is here in New York, or as serious as it is in parts of Europe. We, at the universities, boys and girls meet, and it is very hard to see that they do not fall in love with each other. It's very natural that they do so. And when this does happen, we, at Lubavitch especially, we try to influence them. First of all, we discourage them as much as possible to see that they don't form any alliance. And then, if we find that is impossible, we accept the fact that we have to do our best for them. But only on one condition, and that is that the girl, or maybe the boy, should convert al-pi halacha, according to the Shulchan Aruch, according to instructions laid down in all our holy Sepharim. And another very important fact, if it is the girl who is being converted, we have to tell the boy, you in this instance, if you want to have married this girl, you have to be 100% Orthodox. And we have a story in amongst our congregants a few years ago, and it's just coming to its nice conclusion. The boy used to come to our shul for 1/2 hour every Yom Kippur. He was not interested in religion, not interested in Judaism, only interested to come for half an hour to please his father. He fell in love with a non-Jewish girl, and he took this girl to the Reform, I think you call it, temple, to be converted. This they accepted, and within a few weeks they said she is Jewish. The girl was a very sensible girl, and she seemed to think that it was something missing about the whole matter. And the father of the boy approached the rabbi of the synagogue, who interviewed the young couple, told them of the importance of the fact that if they are going to become Jewish, they should become Jewish al-pi halacha, and keep all the Tariag mitzvahs. We asked the boy, think very carefully about this matter, don't rush into it. Why marry a non-Jewish girl? There's so many lovely Jewish girls here, and if you marry a Jewish girl who may be not so lovely, you don't have to keep all the mitzvahs. You don't have to even keep kashrus, although it's a mitzvah. You don't have to keep Shabbos, although you should. But if you marry this converted Jewish girl, you must keep every mitzvah. And it's going to be very difficult for you and very difficult for the girl. They accepted this. And Baruch Hashem, with the help of the Lubavitch, she is now accepted as a Jewish girl. In fact, the funny part is that a few weeks ago on Pesach, she was invited out to some friends of ours for Achron Shel Pesach, and she refused. She said, I'm very, very sorry, but I do not eat out on Pesach.
Mr. Jaffe, did, of course, I'm sure that you use this as a comment to tell him he doesn't have to be too religious if he marries a Jewish girl. Let's not get anybody get the wrong idea. But sort of to dissuade him from taking this girl, you make it tougher on his part, and to try to get him to give up the girl. But you only told us half the story. What happened to this young man who used to come just for a half hour on Yom Kippur? Did he go through the test, or did he sort of laugh it off when it was over?
That is a very good question, and I'm glad you have reminded me of that, because this boy has come to me and said, Mr. Jaffe, I now realize that I was a cabbage. I was a vegetable. I used to go to football matches. I used to go to clubs, dances. I had no interest in life. Today, I am a complete Lubavitcher. And I tell you, Rabbi Hecht, he comes down today, he helps our groups, he has a big long beard, which he doesn't cut. He helps the boys and girls. I'm sorry, not the girls. The boys. He's the... He helps the groups. He cooks food for them. He's down practically 7 days a week, even on Shabbos with the groups. And you've never seen such a transformation in any boy in all your life. And he's, in fact, he's the treasurer of our mikveh, which we have attached to Lubavitch. We have not too many members, only about 40 or 50, but he is doing his best to increase that, and he collects all the money. He's absolutely... It shows you what the Rabbi has always said. You should never give up a Jewish neshama. You never know what's going to happen in the future, and that is a typical example. I want to tell you, if I may, about the work of Lubavitch in Manchester. The main thing, of course, is we have a youth club, and although the work spreads out all over to university students, adult education, and so on and so forth, I want you to know that Manchester is the centre of a very large population. As far as non-Jews are concerned, within 50 miles of Manchester, we have the largest number of people living in England, more than even in London. And we have about 100,000 Jews living in that area. And we spread out our wings to all types of Jews, religious or non-religious. And we are building now, we have about 5 or 6 years, we built a huge Lubavitch centre in Manchester, and now we are building an extension. We have the help of the local city council, non-Jewish, because the government of England have a law that they have to help youth, and they even pay for youth leaders. And we have been recognized by the local authority that we are a good and proper youth club, valuable, doing valuable work to the community, and they have just granted us the sum of $75,000 to put up a new building. So even the non-Jews recognize the work which we are doing.
Mr. Jaffe, you ought to send some of your people down here. We could use a couple of those Good Samaritans too. We're not that lucky, at least I'm not, to get that kind of support. If you don't mind, Mr. Jaffe, let me get to the lady for a moment, would you? And I would like to ask Mrs. Jaffe to tell us a little bit about the role of the Jewish woman in London. Is it similar to in Manchester, I'm sorry. Is it similar to the States? Is it like we women here the women here are quite active, as you most probably have noticed, especially in Chabad? Do you have this kind of a setup in Manchester too, or do the women sort of take a back seat in Manchester?
No, the women in Manchester are very active indeed, and we have hundreds of different groups attached to various organizations and synagogues, and mostly working for Israel. We have in Manchester also an Ashay Chabad, which it's not very large, but it's very flourishing. And we have various in the weeks we have various shiurim and social activities. The women also work for, certain women in Manchester work for the Tarish Mishpacha groups and try and encourage these young ladies to keep the laws of family purity and etc.
Mrs. Jaffe, what type women do you attract? Are these women with Hasidic backgrounds? Are these women who are, let's say, born in England? Do you get the modern type of women, or do you have to be, let's say, a second class, if I may use that term, sort of one of these a little bit more fanatic type of women? Because here in the States, we are very, very fortunate. We attract women who actually, from their religious backgrounds, are way, way out. And thank God they take a very deep interest in all the activities that are sponsored by the women's groups, as you can very well see by the conventions and so on. I would like to know, what kind of an element women do you attract in Manchester?
To the Nishay, you mean? To the Nishay, the greatest percentage obviously are Orthodox women. But there are women also who have leanings towards Lubavitch or have something to thank Lubavitch for, and we don't refuse anybody. We take all different kinds of religious, non-religious, and real what you call way out people, and we do our best to encourage them and try and see that they They fear a Jewish home and try and bring the children up. And really, the work of Lubavitch in Manchester in all spheres is really tremendous.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jaffe, let's get back to you. I give you an opportunity to catch your breath. Tell me this. In these different projects that the Rebbe proclaims from time to time, we had the Dollar Project for children during the summer, then we had a Hanukkah project, and now there is the project for a study of Torah for the mezuzahs. Do you people respond and fall in line with these projects in Manchester as we do here in the States, or is it somewhat on a lesser degree?
No, we take our part with all these mitzvahs as you do here. In fact, I was talking to Label Gruner, one of the Rebbe's secretaries, who told me that it takes 2.5 hours to get the message round the world. The message is given in the first place, as far as we're concerned, to London, and then it is transmitted to us. But unfortunately, as with all sorts of instructions, they come at the last minute. That is, of course, I shouldn't say it, but typical Lubavitch. We got an order for Hanukkah on the first day of Hanukkah that we must concentrate on the mitzvah of menorahs and Hanukkah gelt and candles. We got we called in all our reserves, which as far as active workers is concerned is about 30 people, although we have thousands involved in the Lubavitch work, and we made within a day or two 1,000 menorahs. We made them ourselves. We got candles and we distributed Hanukkah gelt, and we did a very wonderful job. Consequently, regarding that, I sent a letter to the Rebbe Schlitter, and I explained to him that we got these instructions late, but we did as the Rebbe ordered. But in future, we are now anticipating the work which the Rebbe is going to give us in Manchester, and we are now getting ready for Purim. And I wrote this letter to the Rebbe Schlitter. I received a reply saying, amongst other things, he's surprised that it is only just finished Hanukkah and I'm now preparing for Purim. Have I nothing to do from Hanukkah to Purim? There's plenty of other mitzvahs to do, mezuzahs, and from then onwards he has given us a long list of instructions regarding mitzvahs, and we are kept busy continuously. We have never a dull moment at Lubavitch.
Mr. Jaffe, I would like to say that, I always thought that one of the miracles of Hanukkah was the miracles of making those Hanukkah lamps. I never did understand where people were able to produce so many lamps in so short a time. But when I was in London, I saw the kind of tempo you work with. I could very well understand how you can get 1,000 lamps put together within the day's time. So you got my compliments for that job. Incidentally, how many Jews would you say Manchester has? That's something that always bothered me. Is it a large Jewish population?
We have 40,000 identifiable Jews in Manchester, and within 40 miles we would have over 100,000 Jews in Manchester and district.
Yeah, you know what I would like you to do for me? Please tell me some of the names of these suburban little cities that you have. We in America don't know. Suburbia, we have one concept of. Tell us what that takes in.
Well, local communities, I would tell you we have Manchester, Salford, Prestwich, but going a little bit further afield and still within our work, we have Liverpool, which is a well-known city, world famous, Leeds, Bradford, Hull is a little bit further, Southport, Blackpool, and many, many other large, huge towns in our district.
And in all these towns that you've mentioned, there are Jews.
Of course, oh yes, yes, big Leeds has about 30,000, Liverpool 10,000, Blackpool and St Anne's about 5,000, and altogether, all round about 100,000.
Mr. Jaffe, do all these towns have rabbis, and are they Orthodox, or do you have such a thing like, well, I think they call them liberals?
Yes. Unfortunately, of course, we do have reform in Lancashire. Now, Lancashire is the county, like New York State, but we call it Lancashire. That is our county. And Yorkshire is the next one, wherein is Leeds and Sheffield. We do, unfortunately, have these reformed Jews, but Baruch Hashem, we also have the other extreme. We have those, well, I don't want to say Neturei character Jews, but that type. Good. And we are, although we are called ultra-Orthodox, nevertheless, we are very well liked because they say Lubavitch is a tolerant organization. And once they say that about us, then we are in with them.
You're all right, Mr. Jaffe. Mr. Jaffe, may I ask you two questions that the ladies can answer better? I would like to know the average size of the Jewish family. Do they have many children, or do they seem to have little families? Like in certain parts, like I hate this. I don't want to mention any areas or any countries where they're practicing birth control to a certain degree. But I would like to know, on the average run of the Jewish family in Manchester, do they have larger families or smaller ones? And I would also like to know another thing, from the standpoint, since you are the lady of the house, how is the situation there with kashrus? Are people tending towards it or getting away from it?
The families of where I live in Manchester average roughly from 2 children to 4. There are of course, families with a lot more children, but that is average. Kashrus in Manchester especially is, well, I will say that we have a Beth Din, you see, and most things have got the Beth Din seal, which is a very good control to go by. Unfortunately, I personally think people have slipped a lot, and that is where we of Lubavitch do try and encourage, especially the youngsters who go to Jewish schools as well, try and encourage them to eat only things that have got the hechsher.
Okay, there is another serious question that I'd like to ask you. We here in the States have what we call a generation gap between fathers and sons, mothers and daughters. I would like to know, do you suffer a great deal from this break in the family? Or are the families a little closer knit than they are here in the States?
Yes, I think in England especially the families are closer knit, especially when it comes to Shabbos and Yom Tov. The families seem to gather together if it is at all possible.
That sounds good. Mr. Jaffe, are there... what could you tell us about the day school? I mentioned that you are the head of it. Give us a little bit of a rundown. I must warn you about something. We only have about 3 minutes left. I told you, this is the way time runs here in America. I don't know, maybe your clocks in London are better, but so we're going to have to try to grab it. Okay, we'll get you back here again. So, but answer me about the day schools.
Well, to be brief, we have about 3,000 children attending day schools in Manchester and district only. And that is really the foundation of our future Yiddishkeit, because they are brought up right from the age of nursery, about 3.5, right through to Jewish grammar school, to the age of about 16. They can be at Jewish schools right from the start to the finish. And those who don't attend these schools, we at Lubavitch take hold of them, encourage them to come to our gymnasium, all our facilities we have at the club, and we have adult education, we have shurim, we have games, socials, and we get them into us, and we have a jolly good time, and they come again. Once we get them, then we can do something with them.
That sounds great and beautiful. I hope that spirit continues to spread. May I ask you another thing, Mr. Jaffe? What are the main industries in Manchester, and what do Jews make a living from out there? Are they laborers? Are they businessmen? Are they diamond dealers, or whatever it is? I think our audience would like to know, because many of these people, sort of pass through Manchester, or would like to pay a visit. Maybe they're thinking of moving across. Who knows?
Manchester used to be the centre of the cotton industry, but today, of course, we have nylons and all these man-made fibres, and today Manchester is the centre of a huge industrial complex. But the Jews, they seem to concentrate more on light industry, clothing manufacturers, and other light industries.
Do you have many professional men in Manchester?
Well, of course, I'm sorry. We have thousands of lawyers, dentists, doctors, accountants. Every profession is really, I don't say overloaded, because Baruch Hashem, they all do very well and they're all needed.
One other question. What about politics? Do we have Jews in government in Manchester, or is it sort of aloof from them,
Not long ago we had a Jewish Lord Mayor in Manchester. That is the highest position that any layman can achieve in local government. It is an honorary position. They do not get paid, and it is really the greatest honour a Manchester man can receive is by being elected as Lord Mayor of the town. And Jews have held that position, many Jews.
Well, I had I think I went to with you. We were to one of the Lord Mayors. This fellow wasn't a Jew, but are there any higher positions or any other jobs that they political positions that they hold, and are they elected or appointed?
We have elections for members of parliament, and we have, I think, about 50 or 60 or more, about 70 Jewish members of parliament this time, Ken Yirbu. And they belong to all parties, mainly to the Labour or the Socialist Party, but every party has the three main parties, and they all have Jews in their parties.
Mr. and Mrs. Jaffe, I'm very, very sorry, but I'm afraid that we just don't have much more time. I will give each of you, and this is sort of a courtesy that we extend, a half a minute for a closing remark to our brethren here in the States, and then I'll send back my message with you to Manchester.
Well, all I can say, I wish you all the very best here. Keep up the good work of doing what the Rebbe Shlita, and follow the movement, the ways of Lubavitch, and that will be the savior of Yiddishkeit in America, as well as it is everywhere else.
Thank you very much. And you, Mrs. Jaffe, to the ladies and to the rest of the folks.
To the ladies, I wish them hatzlacha in all their work, and they should be well, and we should all have peace in Israel.
Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Jaffe. It was certainly a delight having you on with us on With Jewish Youth. I certainly hope that your next trip in Yetz Hashem to the States, you will make it your business to visit with us so that we can do another show with you and bring our audience up to date. Have a Mazel Dike way back. Have nachas from your wonderful children and grandchildren. Give my very best to all my friends. I hope I made some friends in Manchester, and I certainly hope that, please God, the next time I pass through England, I will have an opportunity to visit with you and to spend some more time. You too have great tatzlacha in all your endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, this was another With Jewish Youth program. It was a pleasure having you with us tonight. We wish you Godspeed, and until tomorrow night at the same time, God bless you all.